just forgive me several times for talking about why do we need to stop climate change. Nowadays, the weather can no longer be predicted. Sometimes months of summer engulfing to the point of causing forest fire, even resulting in the deaths of hundreds of lives. There is also a rainy season that comes to cause flash flood or landslide to tropical storm. This extreme catastrophe is exacerbated by climate change on this earth. Why is that so? This climate change is having an impact on our natural world. Its effect will continue to grow and deteriorate over time, and this will affect current and future generations. Why is climate change? The planet climate continues to change over geological time, with significant fluctuation in global average temperature. According to the United Nations, understanding climate change is a matter that determines our time, and we are at a decisive moment. From shifting weather patterns that threaten food production to rising sea level that increase the rate of catastrophic flooding. The effects of climate change are global and unprecedented. Without today's drastic action, adapting to this impact in the future will be more difficult and costly. As NASA argues, most of this climate change is attributed to very small variation in the Earth orbit that change the amount of solar energy our planet receives. Climate change involves not only rising temperatures, but also extreme weather events, rising sea level, shifting population and wildlife habitats, and various other impacts. What is the cause of this climate change? Based on the data, 97% of climate scientists come to the conclusion that global warming is largely a human act. The current warming period occurred faster than first event. It has become clear that mankind has caused most of the warming of the last century by releasing heat-trapping gases, commonly referred to as greenhouse gases. What effect does his team have on climate change? The effects of climate change are already being felt now, but they are going to get worse. Global warming has reached about 1 degree Celsius above pre-industrial levels. Every half a degree or even less of the amount of global warming effect of climate change can be exhausting. It is quite possible that heat waves will occur more often and last longer, and that extreme rainfall even will become more intense and frequent in many areas. Evidence of rapid climate change is fascinating. First, rising global temperatures, ocean warming swing ice, glacial retreat, decreased snow cover, rising sea level, decreased extreme sea ice, extreme event, ocean acidification, and so on. Whereas the United Nations has done various things to reduce climate change, such as first, United Nations Framework Convention to Climate Change. In 1992, the Earth Summer by United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change as to the first step of the issue of climate change, followed by 197 countries. The second is Kyoto Protocol. The Kyoto Protocol legally binds developed countries to emission reduction targets. There are now 197 parties to the convention and 192 parties to the Kyoto Protocol. And the last is Paris Agreement. At the 21st Conference of the Parties in Paris on 2015, the Paris Agreement was boiled on the convention, and for the first time, brought all countries into common cause to make ambitious effort to combat climate change and adapt to its effect, with increased support to help developing countries to do so. On Earth Day, April 22, 2016, 175 world leaders signed the Paris Agreement at the United Nations headquarters in New York. So far, 186 countries have signed the Paris Agreement. Who is most affected by climate change? Climate change is and will continue to harm us all. Even we don't know what will happen in the future if it happens continuously. The effect will be felt more by some group that depends on agricultural, on coastal livelihoods, as well as those who are generally already vulnerable, disadvantaged, and subject to discrimination. Small island states and less developed countries will and are already among those worst affected. In North America, most poorer communities of color are forced to brutalize art because their neighbors are more likely to be located next to power plants and refineries. Women and girls are disproportionately affected by climate change, reflecting the fact that they are more likely in many countries to be marginalized and disadvantaged. Future generations will experience deteriorating effect unless action is taken now by the government. However, children and adolescents are already suffering due to their metabolism, physiology, and specific developmental needs. Indigenous people are among the communities most affected by climate change. They often live in marginal lands and fragile ecosystems that are highly sensitive to change in the physical environment. Why do we need to stop climate change? Because we all deserve some protection. We are all born with fundamental human rights. But these rights are under great threat from climate change. Fighting climate change gives us the opportunity to put people's well-being first by answering the right to a healthy environment, because we have the knowledge, power, and ability to stop climate change. Who is responsible for stopping climate change? And the answer is all of us. From country to country, to us as a citizen are responsible for this. From Catherine Hayhoe's opinion, we are human. We are human beings who want the same thing every other human being wants. A selfless for life on this planet that we call home. So while our work must continue to be unbiased and objective, the more we raise our voice and to the clear message that climate change is real and human beings are responsible. The impacts are serious and we must act now. Likewise, we must be able to take responsibility for this earth. Take care of the earth by doing a lot of bombing, reducing air conditioning, and doing various things to minimize and change the habit of the smallest thing. Because those who are entitled to this earth are not just us, but our posterity in the future. We all deserve protection from this universal threat. I think there is enough. Thank you for your attention.